Alright, so this is our final video for Chapter 19 of Seeley's 10th edition, and it's all about blood grouping and blood typing, and a little bit of blood tests, things that you can do to classify and diagnose blood. So the first thing you have to understand is that on the surface of our red blood cells, there can be special markers. So remember my little red blood cell here. There's this little biconcave structure. There could be extra little things kind of sticking off of him. I don't know, I wish I had some paper clips. I'd kind of poke them off of him, or her. Those things poking off of the surface are antigens. Antigens are kind of like cell name tags. They're special proteins on the outside of our red blood cells, and they help our body recognize our self from non-self. So in other words, help our body recognize our own blood from someone else's blood, which is why different bloods shouldn't mix. So we're going to start to get into why that's important. An antigen on the surface of a red blood cell can kind of bring about or induce an antibody response or an inflammatory response from your white blood cells. So it's important that people who are getting blood transfusions, going into surgery, mothers, etc., know their blood type so that they're not inducing an immune response on themselves. So the antigens are on the actual red blood cells. The antibodies are going to respond to the antigens that are on the red blood cells. I hope I made that clear. So there are 4 main blood types that exist in the world, and that's blood type A, blood type B, blood type AB, and blood type O. Those blood types, the letters, represent the antigen that's on that red blood cell. So people that have blood type A have A antigens on their blood cells. So what I did, I have my handy dandy chart of science here. Maybe I can turn my computer a little bit better. Just like that. Is I made this little chart, blood type, antigen, antibodies, can donate to, can receive from. So just to kind of, and again, I like to draw things out because I think it's important. People that have A blood type are going to, here's my red blood cell, are going to have A antigens, or name tags, on their red blood cells. People that have B blood are going to have B antigens. People that have AB blood are going to have A and B antigens. And guess what? People that are O have none. There's no such thing as an O antigen. O is basically the absence of A and B. It's the default, so to speak. So people that have A antigens are going to produce B antibodies. People that have B antigens are going to produce A antibodies. Can you guess what people with AB are going to do? They're not going to have any antibodies. None. People that are O are going to have both A and B antibodies. So let's think about this in terms of medicine and the medical practice. People that have blood type A have A antigens, produce B antibodies, which means they can donate blood to other people that have blood type A and people that are blood type AB, because they're not giving ABers anything that they don't already have, right? You can't give people something that they don't already have, or else it's going to induce an immune response. People that are blood type A can receive blood from other people that have blood type A and O, people that have blood type O. People that are blood type B, let's see if we can do this, have B antigens, A antibodies. They can donate to blood type B and blood type AB. They can receive blood from other B'ers and O. Now what about AB? They have AB antigens, no antibodies. They can donate to, remember, you can't give someone something that they don't already have. People that are AB have A's and B's, so guess what? They can only donate to themselves or other ABers. And guess who they can receive from? Everybody. They can receive from A, they can receive from B, from AB, and from O. They're called the universal recipient. And then blood type O, has no antigen A and B antibodies can donate to everybody. A, B, and O. They're called the universal recipient. And guess who they can receive from? Only other O'ers. So you might say, oh, that stinks to be blood type O. I'm blood type O. Man, I can only get from other people with blood type O. Well, guess what? Blood type O is also the most common blood type. Like 75% of the population has blood type O. So it's a good thing, right? There's actually some ideas about like human history and where these blood types originated from our diets, being exposed to different antigens in our diets, eventually create these adaptations in our blood. People that have like Eastern European descent have blood type B. People that have Asian descent have blood type AB. A lot of Africans have blood type O. So it's, again, it's just a theory. It doesn't always hold true, but think about your kind of familiar heritage and if that matches up with your blood type, if you know your blood type. You can know your blood type by donating blood, which I strongly suggest doing because it saves lives. So let's make sure we covered everything that was super important in this chapter. On this section, oh, we did not talk about RH. That's the other thing, plus and minus. More than likely, if you know your blood type, you know that you are B positive. I am B positive, actually. What does that positive mean? Well, I'll get my chart back up. It basically means that there's an extra antigen on your blood cells, and we call that the D antigen. I think your book calls it the D antigen. It should. The D antigen, or the RH factor. So that means that people that are A positive have this A and this extra RH factor on their blood cells. They will produce B antibodies, and same thing here. But they can only donate to other A positive and AB positive people. They can receive blood from A, from O, from A positive, and from O positive. People that are B positive, same thing. They just have those extra B antigens, so they have A and RH antibodies. They can donate to other B positives and AB positives. They can receive from B, from O, from B positive, and from O positive. So it's just another factor in there to weigh when thinking about blood donation or transfusion. Now, it plays a particular role when women are RH negative and they have a husband who's RH positive. If the woman is RH negative and the father is RH positive, the child has a 50% chance of being RH positive, which basically means the woman could have an immune response to her own baby. So it's important for RH positive mothers to know their blood type. If the mother does not know that she's negative and has a baby the first time, it's not that big of a deal because those antibodies have to have time to accumulate in the mother. When the child is born, there's a brief mixing of maternal and fetal blood right at delivery when like the placenta detaches. So the RH positive baby can develop healthfully inside an RH negative mother for the first time. Her body doesn't have the antibodies in it unless she had a blood transfusion reaction prior to this, but normally she would not have had any exposure to those RH antibodies. So her body's not going to respond. The second time she has a baby, this is when the danger sets in. Her body's going to recognize those RH antibodies and is going to attack the fetus. So miscarriages or spontaneous abortions, as the science world calls them, could happen, stillbirths, etc. So it's important for women who are negative, at least for their second pregnancy, to take these shots called RhoGAM. They're basically suppressing that immune response to the RH antibody. And that way she can have a healthful pregnancy the second time. There's lots of historical families that this affected their kind of birth line and heritage line, and even some people that I've just met teaching this class have said, oh yeah, that definitely affected me before I realized what it was. So it's important to understand blood type for pregnancy purposes as well. Finally, diagnostic blood tests. They're very straightforward. They're all listed right there on page 659 and 660 for you, understanding what conditions can be diagnosed through which tests and how physicians and clinicians use those different tests is important. That pretty much wraps up this, does wrap up this chapter. There's some end of the chapter review questions and some critical thinking questions. All of the answers are in the back of the book. Good study tool to use to practice and double check your learning. You can also post questions in the discussion or email me directly. So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.